Alright. Let's just go for it then. I think it is about 3 o'clock. Okay, thank you, Pepe. See, it's crazy, like what that little clarification can change in your statement, you know. But yeah, we did go ahead and enable hand raising. So if you guys want to go ahead and queue into that, if you have any questions to ask, go for it. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We will start with good old Mr. Rattleshake.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
How many questions are we allowed to ask?
Um, we'll say two at a time, but we can circle back. So
All right. So my first question is there going to be an audit to gold at the beginning of the map? Because I know at the beginning of this map we had a big issue with like next to no gold being able to be used.
I would
Cool.
say gold was actually in a pretty decent state. Obviously, over the course of first adventure, we were able to gather a lot more data. So we're going to be making some more minor changes. What was actually problematic was the hopper cost itself. The gold eco was actually, like I said, in a fairly decent place. So
Okay.
yes, we are looking to decrease the cost of hoppers. I forget what number we settled on, but I know it is pretty significant, the change we're making.
Sounds good. I just don't want another loot box that has 32 ingots.
Yeah,
All
cool.
right. And then my second question is with linked ender chest. Is there going to be any audit to them electricity wise? Because I know they're so underused nowadays.
Yeah,
Anybody?
we're looking at potentially decreasing the amount of electricity they're consuming. Electricity is definitely something, like, as always, we're going to try and continue to expand on. We have some potential ideas for how we can do that, but yeah, as for linked ender chest, yeah, we're looking at decreasing their electricity usage. Same for teleport pads.
All right, perfect. I think that's it then.
Cool, cool. I think I invited you to speak again. You timed that like very perfectly. Here, dismiss. There we go. Alright, next up, Bear. Hello, hello.
Hello. With the issues that you've seen on certain IS top islands with the lag due to hopper-based systems, do you plan to increase or implement composters into the shop to help reduce TPS to allow more people to push effectively?
What island are you on?
Currently, I'm playing on Grinch.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm not playing
so
IS 3.
So as you guys at least already know, I don't know about everybody else in the Q&A. Yeah, like some of the IS top islands, they definitely utilize like a lot more hoppers than a lot of the other islands on the server. And for the Grinch official island, that did end up producing a lot of lag. The reason why hoppers produce lag is because 20 times a second they're scanning the block above them to see if there's any items there that they need to pick up. But that can be disabled by placing a composter above them, because the composter technically has an inventory, and instead of searching for items above it, it'll just look in that one inventory spot. It's a lot less performance intensive. I think that's the phrase. I don't know. I'm out of it. But yeah, it's a lot better for the server. And because the Grinch official island had a lot more hoppers than everybody else, we allowed them to utilize composters, which essentially just decreased the TPS dips that their islands were facing. Yes, it is something we are looking to permit on other islands. So yeah, it is something we would just introduce to the shop going into next map.
Perfect. And then my second question is, with the mentioned rules against teaming, will this apply to island teaming, or will it primarily be PvP based? For example, if you've got two islands contributing to one singular IS top island, is that going to be allowed, or is that something that would be banned?
Repeat that one more time, please.
Okay, so let's say you're pushing IS top, and you've got over the member count. Would you be allowed two islands contributing towards one singular island with all the items, or is that not allowed?
So what I will say is we are looking to make changes to the way kind of like large scale verbaling, teaming, whatever you want to call it. You can slide it under a handful of different categories. But kind of that way islands are structured currently. We're wanting to rework that. And I will say the reason why in past and I guess current maps, we have not just said, you know what, cross teaming, it's not allowed. We've tried it before, and unfortunately, it is just like a very hard thing to moderate. Because what if little Billy and little Timmy are running adventure together? You know, they're in separate alliances, but you know they're helping each other out. We wouldn't want to ban them. You know, they're not undermining the spirit of the game. They're just trying to run adventure together. That isn't an issue. The issue is just when it comes to like a lot of the more competitive islands, where they are very intentionally it's pretty clear when those islands are kind of crossing the line. We're looking to implement a bit more of a broad rule similar to how we have like I think it's like rule 5, undermining the spirit of the game. We're looking to do something similar to that where it is just competitive islands are not allowed to cross team variable, whatever it may be. And if it is a case of you know, we see someone from a top alliance running adventure with one of their friends, something like that, like obviously, yeah, that would be okay. That's not something we're looking to moderate. But when it is something where the admin team like very clearly sees it's crossing the line and it turns into multiple alliances, islands, whatever you want to call them, feeding each other, and it's very clear when it's crossing the line. And that is what we're looking to moderate. Obviously, that is not in effect yet. You know, with the changelog, fingers crossed before then, we're just looking to get everything finalized before we put out that official statement. We will be giving you guys a more in-depth explanation of what exactly that looks like.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Cool, cool. Next up, Nishu.
Hello. So, kind of staying on track with that previous question. What changes, I guess, in terms of like actual limits in game are you looking to impose to prevent things like maybe account sharing or multiple islands competing for one island, that type of thing?
I will list a couple of things for you. I want to state that this is our long-term plan. We are looking to fit as much of this into map 11 as possible. Not all of this is implemented yet, so some of this may come in future maps, map 12. But what we envision is, first of all, islands and alliances. We would like to combine those into one system. We think just having that makes it a lot clearer. You know, what group, what island a player is actually contributing to, what group they're actually a part of. Right now, that's very unclear with people being able to join. I think it's up to like 20. It's a ridiculous number. A lot of islands. So first of all, we're looking to do that. Players are only going to be able to be a member of one island. We are looking to have kind of harsher rotation mechanics. We don't want, you know, people to be unnecessarily caught up in that. So it would likely look like after you join or after you leave an island, there's going to be a bit of an excessive cooldown, something like 24, 48 hours. For like the first 1 or 2 times you do that a map, you'd be able to bypass the cooldown. Once again, we only want the people who that cooldown is affecting to be those repeatedly joining different islands, as well as I mentioned previously, we're looking to implement, you know, actual moderation when it comes to like very large competitive groups splitting up into different islands, different alliances, boosting each other. Yeah, there's a handful of things we're looking to do. I think there might be 1 or 2 other things I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but I hope that should help clarify the direction we're going. One other change we are looking to do, I mentioned it briefly in one of the polls we did. I've always hated the IS members IS upgrade because, you know, people go into a map with like a 20-man group, knowing, or like 22-man group, potentially higher than that, and then they're not able to actually fit those people on the island until later in the map. I've always found that silly. So we're looking to remove the IS members IS upgrade and then just raise the default limit. I believe the number which was settled on was 16.
All right. Kind of follow-up question. How will these changes affect things like alt islands, islands for storing gear, set islands, all of those things?
Yeah. At the end of the day, to some degree, I'm sure all islands are still going to exist. That's something we are continuing to. It's a very hard issue to fix. They have given me quite a headache. But when it comes to storing gear, sharing items with other players, we are looking to implement a new type of island, I will say. I think you guys saw a little bit of that in the leaks channel. I won't go too much into that right now, but I will leave it at there will be a separate island you guys have specifically for storage.
Lastly, just clarification on that answer. In terms of alt islands, like there won't be like rules saying you can't like transfer money from like your alt account to your main account if you're playing a competing island using alt islands or anything, right?
I will say that is like I said, an incredibly difficult thing to moderate, which is why I would love to say, yeah, that's disallowed, but unfortunately it's not as simple as that. Once an official announcement is put out with that rule, it'll be clear if that is or isn't disallowed. I just couldn't give you that answer right now. To put it simply, I don't think there's going to be like any strict rules against that because there is no way we could easily moderate that. But we will see if we can cook anything up.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, MGA Boss Gaming. And I will also make a note. I see like a lot of people typing in chat. Once we go through some more questions in voice, we will be hopping over to answering some questions in chat.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
How are you doing though?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I wanted to ask about adventures. Are we gonna get any updates towards adventures?
I think we have a couple of smaller things planned. I think the biggest thing going into this map, and I do want to be very clear about what we're envisioning Map 11 to look like. We want it to be a rework of the way competition works on the server. I think that is kind of the biggest weak spot Sky has had recently. Adventure content is always easy to implement. We might have some smaller maps as the map goes on. Start of the world, I don't think we have anything in mind for specifically adventures. I think the biggest change for Start of the World, which kind of adventure related, that would just be us changing when facility unlocks. We are looking to make it so like chain facility unlocks with Abandoned Ruins heroic loot. Iron Facility will unlock with Lost Wasteland heroic loot, etc. And then that will just give you the... from that facility, you'll just be able to gain loot from that adventure as well as the next adventure. It's not going to be like how right now, I think Abandoned Ruins facility goes up to like demonic loot. It would just be scaling that back a bit because you're unlocking it earlier.
Okay, I understand. Also, I wanted to ask if you guys like gave like how do you say it, like a chance to give stop rewards. Let's say like coins or like bundles on start of the road. Like for those people who are competing for stop, give them something other than rep points, like as reward.
It's something which has been talked about previously. I know, like, the go-to response to that question is just, they tried it on PvP. To put it simply, a lot of bad things happened, swatting, doxing, just a lot of things we don't want to have on the server, which is why it has not really been touched on since. I understand that it is now, like, a very different environment than it would have been. God, that would have been, like, what, 2017 Cosmic PvP? I don't even know. I understand it's a very different environment than what it was then, so I'm not saying that is out of the question. It's just not something we've properly had a chance to look into yet.
And the last one, most important one, when you already mentioned it, when's Cosmic PvP coming back?
I mean, just got prisons, so I don't know. I think that is the prisons is the focus right now. Cool.
Okay, that's it.
Sick.
Have a nice day.
You too. You too. Bye. Team Mario C, welcome to the stage.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
I was going to ask another question, but I heard you mention something about facility changing that next map. I heard that right, didn't I?
You did,
gonna-
yes.
Okay, so at the moment, so something you said at the end was that you're going to stop it from upgrading in loot when a new tier of facility unlocks. Is
I
that
think
right?
you
Like-
misheard that. Essentially, it's just because instead of unlocking like chain facility, instead of that being unlocked during iron, you're unlocking it during chain. So previously, by previously I mean now, while in chain facility, I can get up to demonic loot. I'll only be able to get up to Lost Wasteland loot, but that's still going to be like very rewarding to the player because Lost Wasteland is not going to be out. Chain facility is unlocking with chain heroic loot on level cap.
Okay, right, I understand. But once the iron facility unlocks during iron, then if it's still rotating between the types of facility,
Yes,
still
the
get
same
the new-
the exact same
Yeah.
functionality is going to work. The only thing that's changing is it's unlocking earlier as well as the loot just to reflect that.
Okay, does that mean there's going to be an abyss facility potentially?
Not currently planned, but
Okay.
that's not out of the question.
Okay, that's fine. Beyond that, I was going to ask about any changes you're planning for PvP. Obviously, the move to latest version has made PvP feel a bit different. Swords are very, very strong. Enchants work perhaps slightly differently than they used to. Is there anything you're looking at changing in to the start of the next map?
Start of the next map, I don't want to commit to anything. Originally that was the plan, but to put it bluntly, we are investing like a lot more time into kind of like the more content update side of things. That being, you know, the restructuring of how islands work, all of that. So I don't think it's going to be start of the world, but we definitely do want to have one pretty early on. I think the biggest changes we're looking to make is there's a couple. Potion block. We're looking at either adding a counter or reworking the way that enchant itself works. We know a lot of players have found not the biggest fan of that enchant, and hey, I get why.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of other things. I think Devour we want to slightly rework. There's a couple of just damage based enchants we want to audit. But I think those are the biggest changes.
Okay, cool. And the other thing that released this map was extractions. I know you're very proud of that. Next map will be the first one where we have extractions from start to finish. Is it going to get any improvements going into next map or any changes, or is it just going to be a bit like how it is now?
This doesn't answer your question directly, but I know someone else is going to ask it because I've heard others ask it. Extraction loot is not going to scale within an adventure, so I'm going to be getting the same loot day 1 of chain as I am the last day of chain. That is designed intentionally, and I think that's going to make extractions really, really rewarding start of the world. That I'm looking forward to seeing. The system itself, first of all, I think extraction is going to be a big thing start of the world because of that. But the system itself is something that we're going to want to expand on. We already have a couple of things in mind with how we want to do that. Obviously, we want to continue implementing new mobs. We want to add kind of like more events within the extraction, making each what would be the proper word? Each time you join session, we can call it that. We want to make each extraction, more unique, more engaging. Potentially adding stuff like weather events, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yes, that is something we're looking to implement.
But yeah, I knew that at the start of the world it's probably going to be very powerful. But okay, that's good to know. I think that's about it from me. Thank you.
Thank you. But Mitorium.
Hello. It's not so much of a question, it's more of just a statement, really. So I last map main quests all season, and I just thought the requirements scale so hard compared to like what loot you're getting, especially for like when you get cocoa beans and like the ore nodes just taking ages to respawn. You need like thousands of ore nodes. It's only sort of plans on sort of tuning it back a little bit at all.
Quests are something, and I believe I've talked about this before, because originally this was going to be a map 10 update, it got pushed back. I don't like the way quest progression actually works. And by that I mean, in order to actually complete quests to a high degree, you need to have a full rotation of pets, and I think the pets are way too, kind of influential on your quest currently. I believe a level 10 pet gives like a 5 times buff, and obviously the difference between having that pet and not having that pet is so significant. We end up needing to balance them around, assuming players have a full rotation of those pets, and then if you just don't, kind of screwed. So we are wanting to rework how the pets work themselves, as well as implementing other ways that players can buff their quest progression. We would rather have a lot of kind of like minor buffs to questing. So, maybe new enchant, which makes you grind quests 10% faster, slash skills, spitballing. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'd rather have like a bunch of like 10, 15, 20% buffs than just, boom, I pop a pet, 500% efficiency. Obviously not the most balanced. So what we are looking to do is give the pets a slight rework, in that they're going to have a longer cooldown. We want their effects to be longer, and then we want to decrease the actual effectiveness of them. By that I mean, a level 10 pet, well right now it might be a 5 times buff, it might be a 1.5 times buff now, so like a 50% buff on your actual quest progression. That would include dyers, fishers, miners, whatever the other one I didn't say was. I think farmers, I lost track. But essentially nerfing the quest pets, and then also making it a lot easier to progress the quests themselves. So once we nerf those pets, we can nerf XP requirements for completing the quests themselves.
Okay, cool. And so just another suggestion for what you said as well, and it's just copied from prisons really, but like a momentum perk or something, or not a perk, but like a what am I thinking of? Enchant or something like that would be nice.
What, just the longer you grind quests, the sun
Yeah, and then you
buff?
get more buff basically, yeah.
Oh, that could be cool. Also, what's up, Joe? Yeah, I mean, I'm all for new enchants. Obviously, I think it was it last map? We did like a big batch of questing enchants. I think we're overdue for doing more. I always love adding new enchants to the game. I think we definitely want to do a lot more this map. We want to do another batch of fishing enchants. We want to potentially have some enchants specific to extractions. But we have a lot planned with those, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Ideal, cool. That's all from me.
Cool. Alright, Mr. Striker. I will also say Discord refuses to put these in order, so I am doing my best to call on the people I've seen up the longest. But we will get to everyone.
Hey, Bill. With the new rework of island quests or island members, is it even going to be a competition if you're not account sharing?
I have not talked on it much, but we are also looking to do a bit of a rework to the way Island Top itself is working this map. We will see if we get that fit in. Once again, we have a lot of changes planned. We're trying to get in as much as possible. Whatever we don't get done, we are looking to have finished by map 12. So once again, think of this more as like our long-term plan with IS Top and competition, rather than assuming all of this is going to be out this map. But obviously, once the change logs are out, you will see. Excuse my rambling. We are looking to audit IS Top in that rather than completing a quest, upgrading your, trophy multiplier, and then, you have 2 layers to your IS top progression. You have your questing to increase this multiplier, and then you have the automation on your island itself. We are looking to add kind of a middleman to completing that quest and upgrading your trophy multiplier. That being similar to prisons, upon completing an island quest, you are going to get an island trophy multiplier note. We want to create an eco around those items. What we are looking to do is have it so if I were to complete a island quest on my island, I get a note. Then if I want, I could sell that note to another island, and they can claim that note at decreased efficiency. So if an island is buying a note from another island, they, if it's like an 100-point note, they can claim that for let's say 10 points on their island. I hope I'm explaining that well. Essentially, we want to add an eco element to IS Top. That way, it doesn't strictly become a grinding fest. If an island is very clearly controlling the eco, they are going to have definitely much more of an advantage when it comes to IS Top.
Thank you.
Did I answer that well? Any other follow-ups to that? Felt like I rambled a lot there, but...
The only thing I was thinking is, right now, if you are the top islands, and hearing that you're going to have some progression from outside is great, because right now, if you're the top islands, all you're worried about is sitting on the island and questing. Most of us have not touched Abyss, because when you look at the time, it's, do we spend time in Abyss, or do we quest?
Yeah, we definitely want to add we want to add more ways to actually progress your IS top, which is why I think switching to a kind of note voucher, whatever you want to call it, system is a lot better, because we can add a lot more sources of actually getting those notes themselves. We are also looking at, potentially implementing them into other sources. Like, as I'm grinding Adventure, I'll also be getting those notes. As I'm grinding Extractions, I'll also be getting those notes. We want to add different types of notes, and maybe to progress to the next level, I will need some of each. That type of thing. I think this map, it was very clear that it really just became a case of which island quests the most. There's a lot of players who, kind of prefer different types of gameplay, whether that be adventures, extractions, or something else on the server. And we want to kind of allow, regardless of what the player's grinding, that is going to benefit them towards IS Top. At the end of the day, I think IS Top should be kind of like a combination, should be a better metric of which island is doing the best on Cosmic Sky. That doesn't just mean islands, that means adventure, that means PvP, that means everything.
For me, because then boss sitting there going for boss, it's like I haven't seen a reason to go for a boss at all this season.
Yeah,
but if that has something to do when you need to do that to progress, then we have to.
Yeah, and I know originally the intention was the trophy multiplier boosters that we have in the game now. The intention was to have those be in bosses, but that was a very difficult thing to balance, which is why we ended up not doing that. If we were to swap over to this point system, that would give us a lot. It would give us much more control over what those bosses are actually rewarding, which is why we are looking to make that switch.
Right. That's it for me.
Cool. Anything else?
Nope. Wait to see how this outcome turns out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Alright. Next up, let's do Clayton.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello. I was wanting to ask about neutral bosses, and if you're actually going to put things in chat for neutral bosses or not.
I will say not the biggest prio thing. I personally would like to, though. So yes.
Oh. Yeah, I think it's what like everyone wants. That's like wanting to comp bosses, and it's kind of like shit waiting 2 hours and then just sitting in neutral zones waiting for them to spawn. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
is
would be really
definitely
good.
something we are looking to do. It's just it likely won't be a start of the world thing. I would like to get that done fairly early on in the map,
Okay, I thought
though.
that was a thing that people's been asking for the last couple of maps. But okay, and also the like teaming for PvP wise for Koth's KO facility and that. You're saying that user go like be more harsh on like obvious teaming when you're not meant to. So that means if someone's got 16 people at Koth and then they're teaming with 10 other people,
That
will both of them just be banned or
specifically,
what?
that specifically is what we're looking to enforce. I am not going to go too much more into that right now. I'm not going to say, yeah, they're all going to be banned, because obviously that rule is not in place and we have not decided on like the actual functionality of that yet. But yes, we are looking to have we're looking to actually enforce against that. Yes.
Okay. And also for things with testing, is it going to be more than well? Is there going to be different cosmonauts getting added or different people that just contest instead of the like same team over and over again? Or the same two teams, I guess.
Yeah, typically we try and reach out to groups outside of cosmonauts when we are doing any sort of larger scale testing. At the end of the day, that just depends on who's online. But yeah, I won't go too into it this Q&A because it's not relevant to most of you guys. But we are looking to do a bit of a rework with how like the whole cosmonaut system is working in general. So just keep an eye out for that. But yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Next up, Discord is actually hiding this name because I have streamer mode on, but welcome, mysterious guest to the stage.
Hello. Just going back to when you were saying about alt islands and stuff. Obviously, there are certain people on the server who have access to 20 plus alts who make alt islands for every single alt. With regards to the eco and everything, how are you going to be able to kind of police that to stop certain islands getting a massive boost from doing alt islands constantly when you said you only better join one island on one account, but then if you have 20 alts, you can join 20 different alt islands?
I talked a little bit about this prior. I'll go a bit more into it. It is very hard for us to actually enforce all islands themselves because obviously they're on alt accounts. If a player wants to, it would be very hard for us to actually tie that account to a main to a user. If the player chose to be sneaky about it. Obviously, I know a lot of players don't right now because it's not something we enforce against. What we kind of want to do is just allow players to fit more on their main island. I think that's, the easiest solution. We want to kind of continue on with what we've done with mutated mobs, what we've done with nodes having like an enriched variant. We want players to kind of be able to fit more crops, more bait blocks, more of everything onto their island, which kind of mitigates the need for those all islands. And I'm sure regardless of what we do, people are still going to do them to get some, minute advantage. But at the end of the day, if we can just allow players to, let's say an island for whatever reason is only able to place down, bait blocks, that's a good example. You can only place 400 on an island. If I want to have 2,000 bait blocks down, right now I would need to spread that across 5 islands. But if we just allow players to compress those onto a single island to gain, a similar amount of resources, then, that would kind of undermine the need for those all islands in the first place.
But it wouldn't also undermine it, though, because you're limited to bots, and if you're pushing for IS top, then bots are a big part of that. You're going to need your bots on your trophy crops and stuff like that to be able to progress in island points and stuff. But then also with regards to alt islands, it's more so just transferring like the cash that you're getting from that to the main island, which then means you can buy up all the resources off the auction house and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's something we would keep in mind when implementing something like that.
But then with that, that's also then undermining the spirit of the game, because there's people who can't afford all of these alt accounts or don't have access to all of these, and then they're having to grind, say, 20 hours a day when someone only has to grind 3 hours a day to get the equivalent value and equivalent stuff. If you understand what I mean.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying, and I mean that is something we would keep in mind when implementing anything like that. I mean, I'll say at the end of the day, if we are able to get all islands down to a point of I have my IS top island where I'm playing competitively and I'm trying to earn trophy points, and then I have my secondary island for gaining money, gaining resources, making custom recipes, and I am able to fit all of the resources I want onto that secondary island. Even if that's the outcome, I'm thrilled. I think that's an improvement above right now, where players are encouraged to have, 10, 20, 30 plus alt islands. Obviously, that's ridiculous. If players have an island dedicated to making recipes and they can fit everything they want on that island, that is, I think that's, about as close as we're going to get to killing off all islands.
Yeah, I get that, but then you could also do potentially within that, similar to how the end used to run, where it's a separate entity to your island, but it's still part of your island, if you get me. So you could have more bots placed down there for crops and stuff, for recipes which aren't implementing trophies and stuff. So you can still have everything focused on trophies on one island, but then have that area.
I think it is
which
very
doesn't-
interesting that you mentioned end islands, and I will leave it at that. Okay.
Okay, fair enough. So that's basically saying they're probably coming back this map.
Not what I said, but yeah, cool. Anything
But no,
else?
that's everything. No,
Sick.
that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Pope Francis. That's an interesting name. Let's go for it.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Well, I've got two very simple questions. One was about the lapis lazuli, because currently you need 128 to craft one lapis. Why not just decrease that to 46 and also decrease the scrap you get by one? Because currently you get 2 for an auto miner, because all the hoppers get clogged because it cannot keep up.
I'll say when those were actually implemented, I believe that was done. It's been a few maps now, but I believe that was done intentionally because we wanted each of the new nodes to kind of feel slightly different. We didn't want them just to be like same mechanic, new texture. Like you might need to change your automation a little bit to keep up with that influx of resources. I've seen a lot of complaints about it. It's something we may change.
All right. And the second question was, will you also increase the mutated spawner limit?
There is no limit. Unless you mean how many you can fit on an island, is that what you're referencing?
Yeah.
Got
many
it.
you can fit on the island.
So I was thrown off because this map we made the change where there's no spawner limit within the spawner. But yeah, it's something we're looking into. Potentially implementing it is something with electricity. Islands are able to, similar to like the electric island chunk boosters, electric beehives, that sort of thing. But yes, that is still up in the air.
All right. No, thank you. That were my questions.
Cool. Alright guys, just a warning, the next person on the stage is Resistors, so might want to get mentally ready for that.
What do you mean? What did I do?
Right, you know what you did.
I did nothing. What do you mean?
Okay.
Anyways, can you explain the facility thing again? Because I kind of came in the like half of it, and I just heard something about chain.
I have recorded this Q&A. I will be uploading it to YouTube after.
See, the reason why is because my next question was gonna be if chain facility comes at heroic or like whatever, what would happen with chain adventure itself? Like just adventures overall. less and less people will go there because now there's extractions and now there's like facility.
I don't necessarily think that's an issue having more places on the server for players to grind. And at the end of the day, it's not everyone who will be going into facility. So
I mean, it's the same thing as, for instance, having an adventure and then having extra things around adventure like realms and stuff like that, and no one chooses to touch the islands because they have so many other things to do.
I think
Like,
at the end of the
having the
day, it's just
choice
there's a
is
lot of different
fine.
play styles, and ensuring that regardless of a player's play style, there's something for them to do. But I don't think it's a case of we're replacing adventures, because at the end of the day, there's always going to be a need for people to grind adventures. It's just there's more options now. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Like, options is fine, I know. It's just that at some point, I do have a feeling that a lot of people would just deem adventures not worthy of grinding because they would just grind other things, and then the value of grinding adventure, or like just people will see it as something not worth doing.
Well, if less
And
people
it's
are getting
only
adventure, and a lot of things are exclusive to adventure, then the demand for those items is going to stay the same, but the supply is going to go down, meaning that their value is going to go up. So a lot more people are going to want to grind there. Like, at the end of the day, it's just a supply demand type thing. There's always going to be a need for adventure, so people are going to grind adventure. I don't think it's ever going to be replaced. It's the backbone of Sky at the end of the day.
See, for instance, right? Yeah, you said that demand, supply and demand, but then facility, for instance, fixes that. There is enough supply and demand for island items and other things in facility to the point where, like, if it unlocks early,
Respectfully, I don't want to go on the never-ending loop of what
Like, I
ifs
mean,
for something which isn't
right.
implemented. I am not concerned,
Fine.
and if it does become an issue, we will audit loot tables. Cool?
Fine.
Cool. Anything else?
That's all for now. Nah, that's all for now.
Cool. See, guys, that's why I give you the warning, bro. I'm joking. Hold up. Don't think we have heard from the Void Master yet. Yeah, let's hear from him.
Hello.
Hello.
Will we be able to see like a removal of the lawful zone facility? Because it's seen as like a PvP zone based off of what I've noticed over the past map or two. It feels like lawful doesn't really have a place in there.
As I already mentioned, we're making other changes to facility this map. I'm not the type of person who likes making a lot of changes to the same thing at once, because then it makes, like, if an issue arises, it makes it hard to identify, like, why players aren't engaging with it. I want to see what this does first, and then we can take a look at that. Cool.
Okay. Also, will we see an audit to vault keys over the next map in terms of their rarity, drop
Yes.
rate, and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay. Are we also getting a realm rework? Because I think fishing realm still doesn't work.
Fishing Realm is the bane of my existence. It's something we're aware of, yes.
Alright, that was all. Thank you.
Cool. Doc, hello. If you are there. I will give you 10 seconds, Doc. If you are not here, I will invite up someone else. Hello.
Yeah, hello? Sorry, I don't know why it didn't work.
You're chilling.
I have one simple question for you. How do you like your eggs cooked? Fried or scrambled?
I'm actually more of like an omelet type of guy.
W.
If outside of that though, sunny side.
Yeah, that's the best. I heard Dark makes some really good eggs, so I just wanted to ask you how you like yours made.
Feel like that's a reference I'm not getting. Okay. Anything else, or is that it?
That was it. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Yeah. Have a good day. Alright, last noob.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. So, I know we were kind of talking about Koth. Do you think it's realistic that we can maybe look into adding the player numbers instead of names to prevent the teaming? Would that be something realistic we can do on here?
Obviously, I say obviously, for those who were there for Start of the World Map 10, upon migrating to 121.11, a portion of the system we use to hide names, both for Koth as well as other places like mini games, something did not update properly with that. So it is not just a case of we chose to disable it in Koth. I would love to hide names there. As well as other places like mini games. It's just something which would take like a much deeper looking into, and in my eyes, that is not currently worth the time investment. That doesn't mean I don't want to get it done. It's just there's higher things on the priority list. Fingers crossed that is something we can get done by the end of this map, though.
Okay, and I know we were also discussing changing, well, not we, but discussing changing platform height. Would it be maybe worth just looking into remapping the Koth?
Platform height? Could you elaborate on that, please?
To prevent a Dren rush.
Oh, at Koth. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was not connecting the two.
Would maybe a remap of Koth be like kind of an idea? Just copy and paste like a Koth from somewhere?
No, we wouldn't just find another build. If we were to do anything, we'd get something custom. I think we're overdue for a new map. I think we're using the same one that Old Sky did. I don't know. I did not play Old Sky, but I know regardless we've had this one for we've had this one for a while. I'd want to start simple. Let's move the platform. That sounds a lot easier, and then from there we can potentially look at something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that was all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Jazzy.
Currently biking on the beach, so don't mind me. But speaking on the idea of revamping Koth, if you're open to free slavery or free builders, I would love to help out building Koth. You know me from my prisons plots, my sky plots, my sky islands.
Is this like a job interview? Is that what this is? Or?
I mean, it's like an internship interview. Like,
okay,
I'll be a free. Yeah.
Can I ask you, like, okay, question one.
For sure.
Have you seen a seal in the past 12 hours?
I have. I see a seal right in, like, okay, maybe like 2 minutes away from me.
Oh my god. See, like, this guy's perfect for the job. I don't know. Yeah. I appreciate the offer, but we have our build team, so unfortunately, you are gonna be denied. But
yeah, well, they sick.
They cooked on the extractions map, all I'm gonna say. But
yeah. I don't know about that. They can they can say what they want. They can say what they want.
This guy's a hater. Okay. Alright, anything else?
Okay. No. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.
Peace. Kalo.
Yo. What's good? Can I curse?
I'm not gonna say
anything. I just sometimes I say curse words.
Let's keep it like PG-13.
Okay. Listen, my G, I'm new to the server, and I know that you can sell items for real money, you know?
Okay.
And I wanna know if islands is worth playing for real money, you know?
At the end of the day, like any sort of like IRL trade isn't something, the server itself moderates. That's all done through third parties. So I wouldn't be able to speak on that. I don't really know the eco around that, but I know you can make a decent amount of in-game money, a decent amount of slots, all of that from like questing on an island. So I don't know. I would assume as much, but yeah, I would not be the guy to ask for that.
So you don't know?
I do not deal with IRL trades, so.
Okay. That's all.
Cool. Guy asked if he can curse and then did not curse. I was hovering over the move to audience button. Guy had me scared. Let's do Seavoid TV.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
So my question is, I know that a lot of players often talk about Adventure KO as one of the best grinding areas to get loot. Would there be a balance with that? When you were talking about island questing being more balanced with adventuring, would there be an island equivalent of that? I know that people often say that Adventure KO is high risk, high reward, and that's why it is the way that it's structured. But I also know that you talk about making questing with islands more balanced.
I will say two things. One is that we want just better scaling within adventures. We're looking to rework neutral, give that a bit of a buff. The KO treatment per se. That would be within all of the adventures, as well as on island. This is I'm not going to explain it. You'll see when / if it happens. KO Islands. And I will leave it at that. You'll see. You'll see. Maybe you might see, but it's cool. It's cool.
All right, I'll leave you to it.
Cool. Alrighty. I'm trying to think who hasn't already been up. I can't remember if we've talked to Nishu, but I will let Nishu up here.
All right, we're back. I wasn't here before, but two more questions. One, are we looking at another recipe rework for this map? I know you like to do those most-ish maps.
It's up in the air right now. I actually didn't hate the recipe eco this map. I'd almost rather do a audit to the existing ones. By that I mean like just changing prices rather than reworking the recipes themselves. But we will see. If it happens, you guys will know, because I will likely stream it.
All right, and then second question, I asked this most Q&As. What's something you want to tease or talk about for next map?
I feel like I have a really bad habit of yapping more than I should, so I think I've talked to you guys a lot, or maybe not a lot, but I think you guys have a general idea of what to expect for this next map, even if I haven't gone super into it. I think the biggest change I'm excited about really just is the whole system of merging islands and alliances. I think that change itself, back-end wise, it definitely is not simple, but I think when looking at it, it's a relatively simple change. But I'm really hoping that has really big implications when it comes to the way the actual comp on the server works, and that I'm looking forward to.
All right, sounds good.
Robin024.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
I have a quick question. Looking at this season, player retention at around Diamond tier broke down a little bit, which could be contributed to prisons, but generally speaking, talking with some people from last map, I rejoined this map, so might be an obsolete question, but what do you think will you guys do to drive up player retention in later season, especially looking at the market that quite deregulated for a certain time?
I will say, first of all, it wasn't a case of maybe prisons. I will fully clarify that was absolutely prisons. Yeah, definitely had a really big impact on our player count this map. Obviously, it's a new thing. People are very hyped over it. I think similar to when Sky initially released, I think it's a very good comparison. There's a lot of hype, a lot of nostalgia around it, which, I think a lot of that is more short term than anything else. I think a lot of that is literally just going to be resolved just with a server reset. I think Start of the World is going to be pretty good for Sky. It really just is a case of I think prisons killed off a lot of the remaining hype of this map, which at the end of the day we expected. So yeah, we are just hoping for a reset, and we do have like a lot of cool mechanics for Start of the World. I think outside of everything new we're looking to add, extractions alone is going to be really impactful for day one. That I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Bear, I know you've had your hand up for a while. And then really quick, before you start talking here, I want to let you guys know that we have been going for a little under an hour now. In about like 5 minutes here, let's say on the hour, I'm going to go ahead and close hand raising. So if you have any questions, make sure you put your hand up. I will give you like a 1-minute warning before I do that. But yes, what's up, Bear?
Hello, so, Megan. I've been following the suggestions tab quite closely throughout the season, and one of the big points that people keep bringing up is Quincy's being quite overpowered for questing. Do you plan to bring Quincy's in to make a return next season, or are these something that's going to be reworked or removed?
Quincy's won't be removed, potentially just a number audit with them, but as I've already mentioned, we're looking to do larger scale quest audits.
Okay.
That being not
then
just
also,
Quincy's, like the other pets, the quest progression, all of that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then the second point was, can you remove useless progression-based items from quest requirements? For example, why when Obsidian nodes are released does that increase the quest requirement? Because not a single person is going to be questing on Obsidian nodes.
We already have a note for that.
Just an example. Okay, fantastic. Alright, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Resistors, welcome back to the stage.
Science stuff. Is there going to be anything with that? Because last season they kind of felt underwhelming, at least.
Which aspect
Not
of
many,
science?
specifically enchants, I guess. Like, not many people used the bump up enchants. Cascade wasn't like Cascade was used, but just not as much.
Yeah, we definitely want to do more with them. I think we were a little bit too. What's the word? I think we didn't really go over the top with a lot of the new ones. I think we kind of. God, why can't I English today? I think they weren't as OP as they could have been. We'll leave it at that. So I think we definitely can look to either rework or buff some of the existing enchants. I want a lot of them to be slightly more obtainable, as well as I think we could implement a few more.
It's actually something that's been a while. Is there any like advertisements planned soon yet again? That's
I will say we are actually looking into something. I won't go too much into that because I don't think I can, but yes, we are looking into something.
okay. That's all. Thank you.
Cool. Last new.
Hello.
Hello.
This is just touching on the Aether enchants. Is there any way we can make Aether enchants, work at Koth? I know some of them technically don't work. And also, yeah, as you said, you plan on maybe making more. I think PvP wise, like they're all really good.
I think the PvP ones are
they
good.
just-
It's mainly the island and
Yeah,
adventure
like-
ones which are meh. If
Yeah.
any are not working at Koth, that's something I'm unaware of. If you could make a bug report ticket on that.
We did make a bug report, I believe, on it. It's for Aether Guards. It just doesn't proc in Koth. I know back in the day when Guardians was a thing, I don't know if that was like OG Sky, but you couldn't kill Guardians at Koth. I don't know if that's the reason why Aether Guards doesn't work. Or you don't have them spawn because they do become immune to damage. So I don't know.
Cool. Yeah, I mean,
a couple
people
tickets were made.
People in chat right now are saying that it's intentional. I do not remember off the top of my head why that would have been the case, but I can look to verify that if they are off, they're off for a reason.
if it is off, can we look to maybe get that checked either early next map or find a fix?
Yeah,
'Cause I find
definitely can.
like especially Aether Guards, like if you're grinding for enchants, it's just nice for it to work in the one place where people actually PvP.
Yeah, I get that. Cool.
And was there a plan on maybe having more PvE, either skins or masks? I know you brought in a lot of new skins this map, or masks. Requesting. Well, I guess the Shamrock is doing it, but
I will say potentially I want to do my priority right now is enchants. I think we are missing enchants in a lot of different places. As for skins, I do want to touch on just the fact that that is something we've actually looked into. In order to properly bring them back, we would need to implement data packs, which that itself would be a bit of a larger time investment. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It's just that would be a much larger, likely start of the world type of update. Not this map. Definitely not this map. As well as there's a lot of limitations with Minecraft, making it very difficult to do any sort of chestplate, legging, boots, item skin, anything like that. Not saying it's not going to happen. There's definitely a lot of ways we could do tool skins without a client, weapon skins, helmet skins. But yeah, obviously without the client, we don't have the same kind of abilities we did in the past.
And sorry. So, is there obviously this might not be a popular thing, but on prisons, if you die with a mask, you drop it. Is there any way Cosmic will go back to that feature? Because I don't know, I found that to be always a good feature for Cosmic, especially because it makes masks actually, more expensive later in the map.
I see both sides of it.
But
that was a decision I remember was made during the alpha, and I remember as a player back then being very against the way it is now. For the majority of the time I was a player in Cosmic, masks dropped when you died, so that I'm still kind of I personally am used to. I don't know. It's something I can speak to the team about. I can talk to players about it. I think Sky has kind of grown used to the current system, but that doesn't mean it won't change. So we'll see. Maybe.
Okay. Can I ask one more, or is that enough?
I will say you have time for one more, but I am going to go ahead and close request in 10 seconds. So if you have a question, go for it.
Okay. So if
really quick, 3,
I saw
2, 1. Okay, they're off.
Sorry, I'm
Cool.
not.
No,
Okay,
you're good.
sorry, I didn't know if you meant you were gonna kick me.
No.
So I've seen a lot of suggestions about bringing white scrolls back. In my opinion, I don't think that's good because the same thing happened before with white scrolls. Nobody did anything. If you guys actually are planning on bringing them back, could you at least add a mask, for example, that can actually pop white scrolls?
So what you're doing is suggesting holies, except you don't actually want holies.
Yeah,
And then
I'm
you
just
want
saying
to
a
add a
fix
way
for
to
holy,
negate them.
if you guys had them, yes.
Let's just not do that because it was problematic in the past. That seems a little bit backwards. But yeah, I think holies. I call them holies on Sky. They're always white scrolls. I think white scrolls on Sky are great on paper, but they don't.
I think they're
do
horrible.
what you think they would. Yeah, it doesn't really encourage PvP. People are still, stuck behind Gear of Fear. Yeah. It's not something we're looking to do
Shadow
currently.
Slasher, yeah. All right, perfect. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Here, let's see. Rattle Shake.
Hello again.
Hello.
Well, something I always find interesting to look at Carnage is just how many loot boxes get opened. and the never-ending cycle that there currently is with the bisc, with the carnage boxes and just CCs in general. And I thought that was like a major point that Tater was trying to strike home when it was first getting added back. I was just wondering your thoughts on that. The
Is
never-ending
that like?
cycle.
What are my thoughts on the Carnage caches being opened? What are you?
No, just in general. Like any CC, really just any when a big box comes out, right? It comes out with two bundles of 3x loot boxes, a CC, and then some other item to open, right? And then you're just sitting there for 40 minutes opening, and then you either get like one good item and then like 40 shitter items, and it just like I don't know. It seems like what happened to prisons before.
I will say first of all, just to be blunt with you, I think having longer openings is typically more enjoyable for a player. Like if I'm there and I'm wanting to spend, I know bundles vary in price. Let's say like if I want to spend like $80 on a bundle, if I'm gonna open that and just be done with it, and 5 minutes is some of like the older bundles were on Scab when we had less items, less loot boxes, that I think is a little bit lame. I think we are kind of in a good spot currently with how long an opening actually is. Carnage caches, yeah, those are always going to be over the top. That's kind of the point of them.
I understand that. It just it emphasizes more
I
points.
I think the duration of openings right now and how they give other CCs and loot boxes, I think that's fine. I genuinely do think for like a lot of like the early to mid game monetization, and you asked for my honest opinion, I think we can do more with kind of making some of that actually a little bit stronger. When it comes to like a loot box itself, I think we can do more to. I think it's very like hit or miss right now. Either you get a jackpot item or you don't. I want to have kind of like much stronger like mid to that's it. Let's keep it simple. Yeah, just middle items. I want to do more with that with loot boxes. But other than that, I think everything's in a pretty good spot as it is currently.
Could we then at least get a toggle for loot boxes in chat? Because I usually like to read my chat.
I have seen that. I know it's worse with Carnage caches, but we can look into it. Yes.
Well, it's usually just impossible on any Friday.
Cool.
All right, that's pretty much it.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let's do chili.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay. So first question. Are you guys aware / planning to fix the entire thing going on with Sword, hitreg, whatever?
It is something we are aware of, yes.
Is it planned to be fixed early next map or?
It is something we're looking into. I am not gonna give you like when it's fixed because obviously if it was fixed it would be on the server. It's a little bit more in depth than that, but yes, it is something we are aware of.
All right. Okay. Second question. Is there ever going to be any additional PvP pets beside the Alchemist Alex?
I never was a big fan of. I like PvP pets on prisons because inventory management wasn't really as big of a mechanic on there. Obviously, you have your satchels, which hold your orders while you're mining. Other than that, you don't really need a whole lot of inventory room. So if you had a whole inventory of pets, you're fine. On Sky, at the end of the day, the main place people are going to be PvPing and utilizing those pets are Adventure, where inventory management is a much more significant part of the game. So I don't want to kind of require people to have like a ton of pets in their inventory to actually survive. I think that kind of, that has its own problems. I think the idea of PvP pets are cool. Maybe we can have some sort of like pack mule combined stack pets. I know I saw a suggestion thread for that. There's a ton of different ways you could do it. Maybe, but some way to have pets not take up as much inventory room. Maybe we could do something like that. But yeah, it's just it's not something we're rushing to do. It would be cool though.
Okay. So next thing, is there ever going to be tech dust in facility?
I already mentioned we're looking to change facility loot tables, and that would be decided on when we do that.
Okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. I cannot pronounce that name, but it starts with a K. KWLA. Hello, hello.
Oh, there we go. Hello, hello. Sorry. It's Koala.
Koala, got it.
So, question for extractions: are we going to be able to actually like craft a set and be able to like get stuff to make a good extraction set? For example, like in Tarkov or in Arc Raiders, where you spend the time to build up a set, and then you're able to survive longer rather than just finding gear.
I will say at the end of the day, kind of like Extractions was specifically kind of like built off of the idea of arc raiders, and for the most part, the gear you're getting within that game, it's just something you find around the map, and I really like that idea. I think the reason why there's not a lot of PvP in adventures and really other parts of the server is because Sky players do have a lot of gear fear. I'm not saying that's bad. It's just at the end of the day, it's something the community has. So Extractions was designed intentionally with the idea that you're getting gear which breaks relatively quickly. You can't fix it, you can't build on that gear. You get the gear with the intention of losing it, which kind of breaks that gear fear mentality. That definitely is something we still want to expand on, potentially having a way to add enchants to some of those sets, but it still breaks after a certain amount of time. That whole system is something we are looking to expand on, but it will never be the case of you fully build a god set as you would make like a chain set, an iron set, a diamond set, anything like that.
Yeah. And then another question. This is my first map, so this might be a stupid question for a lot. In terms of trophy gain, I've noticed that, for example, fishing as of right now gives a lot more trophies than any other island automation.
Yeah,
is that something that we're going to be looking to balancing?
I'll just clarify that's because fishing was fully reworked going into this map, and we made a couple of number changes throughout the map to fishing. And I don't like nerfing trophy numbers as we go throughout a map because obviously, some islands may have already benefited from it. Yeah, it's just as simple as we're going to nerf the amount of trophies earned from fishing going into next map.
Perfect. That was all. Thank you.
Cool, cool. Resistors for a third and final time.
Adventure levels. Let's talk about that a bit, because
Can I try and answer your question first?
Sure.
We are going to be making some audits to adventure levels. First of all, that's just going to be needed with us moving around facility unlocks. We want overall, there's kind of 3 big unlocks within adventure levels, that being neutral, KO, and facility. All of those we want to be slightly easier to unlock. We still want it to be something players have to grind for, but not to the degree they have had to for the previous 2 maps.
I mean, is it possible to make more levels, but lower the rewards, but still keep the EXP, like...
We did a poll for that, players didn't want it, and at the end of the day, that would either result in dead levels, or it would result in just, I don't know, levels not being the most engaging. At the end of the day, the system was designed to where it's not expected for most players to hit level 30. When designing a system like that, I would much prefer players always have something to grind to while an adventure. They always have another adventure level they can hit, rather than it being a case of within a week, 2 weeks of grinding, I max my chain adventure level, and then I'm done with that for the map. I think that's, a little bit lame. I think it's cool having players have to pick between, do I want to grind up my chain adventure level this map and get the level 30 perk there? Do I want to go to Demonic and get up my level 30 perk there? I think having sorry, I think that having it be a lot more grindy is definitely beneficial. I just think, the more necessary perks, as I mentioned, neutral KO facility, I want those to be easier to obtain.
Okay. And I guess second map and third map unlocking like level cap. Last season they were a bit special.
Say that one more time. My headset cut out. Sorry.
So third map opened like what? Mythic had a full week until demonic unlocks, and then chain was only like 2 days. Is there going to be a change in that? Because
I will say, for some necessary reasons, this map level cap was definitely moved around for a bit. I'll also let you guys know, reset was technically supposed to be a week ago, but we did have to postpone it a week, which is why Abyss went on a little bit later than usual. Going forward, we're looking to have a much more standard level cap. What we're looking at currently is at minimum 2 weeks chain, 2 weeks iron, 2 weeks diamond, and that's something we're wanting to stick to between maps. I know literally every map we've had has had a slightly different level cap, but we're wanting it to be slightly longer caps and keeping it more consistent.
last thing, since it's Easter soon, I assume there's going to be 2 CCs releasing in chain without one in iron for once. Since
you would have to see, I don't know. I've never even heard of Easter or a Cosmic Crate, so I don't know.
Of course,
I
of
couldn't
course.
answer that.
Never.
Yeah, I don't know what that
Alright,
is.
that's all.
Cool. Alright, let's do Bear.
Hello again. So, I just wanted to make a statement quickly about the Killer Mask, because I'm not sure who you had to test that, but, like, there's not been enough testing at all on that mask. It's so unbelievably broken in PvP. It's sort of a case where you have to have a Killer Mask or you just can't compete against anyone fighting.
Yeah, I know it's definitely strong. We're looking to make, first of all, I will clarify, it was made to be a very strong mask. It is meant to be the strongest PvP mask. We are looking to still do some slight audits to it, which we're looking to have done for Start of the World.
Okay, brilliant. And then my next point was you should probably review your staff that you've got on the team, because SexPP's been talking mad shit about you guys all week. So,
cool.
Maybe just
if you have a problem with any specific staff member, feel free to make a purchase support ticket, but a Q&A would not be the place to ask about that.
Okay.
Cool. Team REOC.
Hello again.
Hello.
Got 3 quick questions. I'm going to start off by saying that I don't think most of the Abyss Vault keys are actually in the loot table. I think in all of the chests, legendary and up, they are just completely missing. They're not even, which is not ideal. Just make sure they're there for next map.
Can do.
That's not even really a question. That's just a statement. Anyway, one thing I was going to ask, my main question is, on prisons, outposts are very good. The training outpost gives a lot of additional energy gain, and I think the other outposts are quite useful too. I was thinking of, are you going to rework outposts to have more powerful buffs, potentially bringing in a nether outpost as well at the once Abyss releases?
I think outposts themselves could use for a little bit of a rework. I think they haven't been touched for a while. I don't know what exactly that would be, but yeah.
Okay.
It's worth looking into.
And the last thing is that are we going to have a map where we don't have an insanely OP iron bundle for the start of iron that kills the eco immediately? That would be nice.
I cannot speak on monetization till it happens.
Okay. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Cool. Alright. I believe that does, that was our last person with their hand up. I will be taking a little bit just to answer any questions in chat. So if you have anything, go for it. Player XP, Island XP, quest progress bar, quest completion, extra chest and adventure, etc. What does that mean? Oh, outpost idea. Yeah. No, I mean, that's something we can look into. Outpost perks are definitely an easier thing to do. Can we fix the same node not stacking because different lore? Yeah, that's a case of, I don't know if you guys realize this, but every time we update node numbers, we need to manually replace it in each league table, which is definitely, like, not an efficient thing to do whatsoever. Going to this map, we're looking to just remove the lore on the node, so that way we do not have to do that again. And once we do that, yes, we will ensure they are all updated. Any way to change Skywars into the main BR instead of Battle Royale? No one plays that. I think part of the reason nobody plays BR is, in all honesty, just lower player counts towards the end of the map, and then they stop starting, and because they stop starting, people stop trying to get them to start, and then it turned into a never-ending loop. Which is why we weren't looking just to, like, decrease numbers for, like, players joining, anything like that. I think once we reset and have, like, a much more stable map, then, yeah, that's not going to be as much of a problem. Pippi, that's a bad idea. Is final alliance size 16 for next map then? That is what we're aiming for, yes. I just always hate using the word final, anything like that, until it is literally on the server. But yes, that is absolutely what we are aiming towards. What about filters? Please be a bit more in-depth than that. I don't know what you're asking. Are we buffing lawful yet or what? We're looking at neutral first. Are there any enchants that existed prior that you'd like to come back? I did not play Old Sky, so I don't know. Holiday enchants. Gonna be honest, I don't really remember what a lot of those did. Overall, there's a lot of new enchants I want to do, though. I don't know necessarily about old ones. What changes do you have for neutral that then Sakeo isn't 17 times better? Wow, that's a very precise number. At the end of the day, KO is always going to be the strongest, but we're looking to give neutral the KO treatment, meaning slightly less mobs. But we want them to give more AP, and then also just auditing mob spawns. I mean, in general, just a rework of the mobs in the corner. I can't tell you exactly what those changes are going to look like because they have not been done, but just ensuring that neutral is a step above what it is currently. Make filters so you can click an item in your inventory to not pick it up again. It is not that simple, unfortunately, with the way, you know, there could be different, like, variants of an item, all of that. It's just not that straightforward, I'm afraid. Will you increase neutral loot drops so PvP matters? Just answered that. Will you be adding realm exclusive items to realm loot table? They're not worth doing. Every item can be dropped from loot boxes or elsewhere. Yeah, I definitely want to do more with realms. I'm not the happiest with the way they were reworked. I think the new maps are cool, but I think there's still a lot more we can do with them. I also do want to implement the new fishing system into fishing realms. Even if that isn't, I don't want it to be as simple as bait blocks, but maybe there's like mobs swimming around and like the player needs to like throw a trident at them. Just something to make it more engaging. I'm not the biggest fan of the current fishing realm. As always, we're looking to kind of audit some older loot tables. I know I saw someone mention boss. I think mini games could, you know, we could take another look at those. Oh, more item drops on neutral player kills. I think that's something we could look at. When is the final update? I don't know what that means. Will you be fixing filters so they actually work properly? I know there's still a couple of items which need to be added to that, but overall the current filter system should be working. If there's a toggle in there and the item is not working for that toggle, make a ticket. Stop saying that's something you can look at. These are changes you need for start of the world. At the end of the day, there are a lot of changes we want to make to the server, and it is not something where we can just change everything at once. Obviously, in an ideal world, yes, we would, but there's only so much time in a day. But yeah, there is. At the end of the day, our goal is just to fit in as much as possible to the start of the world. Make Iron Adventure and drop the seeds and resources similar to Abandoned Ruins. Something we can look into. I know at the end of the day, like Chain and Iron loot tables are a bit different because there's a lot more seeds and like different variants of stuff in Chain than Iron, but we can look into it. So those with Lost Wasteland map, for example, can immediately get Lost Wasteland tier loot. Can we make it so that many games isn't based on map progress but highest map unlocked? I don't hate that. Yeah. Could consider it. Why don't add auto attack on adventure? I assume you mean just some way to like autonomously kill mobs. That sounds potentially problematic, but I get where you're coming from. I mean, we could look into that. I think Old Sky had something on the Cosmic Client which made like killing mobs quicker. Like on not an adventure, but like on your island. I don't know. I'm curious how we would implement that if we wanted to. But yeah, we can. It's a thought. It's a thought. Cosmic Client coming back? No. Yeah, Lee Dog. I think that would be cool as either a mask or an enchant or something like that. I don't think that needs to be just like a base mechanic. Also, we'll go for another 3 minutes until it's 4:30 Eastern, and then we'll end here. Please add auto claim money and XP in adventure. That is a thing. I don't think it works with like a couple of mechanics of if you like pick up a money note, which you're technically doing from like what do you call them? If you get like the mask or like the rank perk where it drops like an extra item on mob kill on the ground, those don't. That is something we have a note for though. Extraction loot. Extraction loot autonomously updates based off your map. Are you removing names in extraction so there's no teaming? Even though the poll lost by a little bit, can you add splash pots into your extractions? Splash pots are in extractions, they're just at a slightly rarer rate. Because I know that poll was close. Additionally, I mentioned earlier in the Q&A, I want to hide names in more locations on the server. It's just not something we can easily do. That's because the plugin we used previously, something with that broke, is we migrated to 121.11, which is why, that's no longer a thing. And I forget if it was at Cough before. I know it was definitely a thing in many games. So that's something we would need to look into prior to enabling that there. Bear, that is not something I am quite ready to answer yet, but it may potentially be changing. You would see in the patch notes. Cool. I think that about sums it up, so I am gonna go ahead and end here. Appreciate you guys stopping in here. If I have some time today, I will try and get this uploaded to YouTube. I have been recording, so yeah. Alrighty, and as always, I need to struggle to figure out how to. Oh, it is literally just this button here. Okay, have fun. Toasty smells.